Hi, this is Gabby, and this is my submission for the clinical final assignment. So how did this clinical rotation change my perspective on maternal newborn nursing? I just say it's not a field that I've ever considered before. I kind of went into it thinking I wouldn't like it. I thought it would be boring, but now that I've gone through it, I can kind of see myself working there in the future at some point, maybe in the NICU, maybe in L&D. Um, I thought it was really interesting to work with the maternal newborn population. Um, it's a lot different from from any other department in the hospital. And it's really interesting. As for feedback and how I'm going to use that moving forward, I really appreciated any feedback that I got on my paperwork. There were a lot of things that I missed just because I was so overwhelmed with new information. Like, I'm used to med surge, and maternal newborn health is such a new concept and shoved into 7 weeks. So I missed a lot of things, and it was really helpful to get comments on what I missed. And I did notice my paperwork improve over the course of um, like our clinical days, and I felt really good about it. I felt really good about um, kind of getting to improve upon what I'd missed before. Um, as for midterm evaluations, I really appreciated the specific feedback that I got. Now, like, I have a list of things that I've accomplished, like the skills I've accomplished, and now I have a list of things that I need to work on, which I'm definitely going to use moving forward. Like, I think some of the things to work on were SBAR organization and delivery, preparation, being more prepared for clinical, like printing out my paperwork, and just knowing that I have the knowledge to back up what I'm observing and I don't need to second guess myself. That I think is like the biggest thing um, that I have to learn is to trust myself when going forward in nursing because I just got to rely on my own judgment. Um, oh, and like I think once I realized that I can step out of my own head and just stop being so stressed about every little thing, I started having a lot more fun in clinical. The activity that I think was most beneficial to my learning was probably the scavenger hunt and the questions that went along with it. I really like gamified learning, and I really like when you kind of turn learning into like a physical activity too, because I'm not gonna forget ever probably like going around that room, picking the objects, and explaining, trying to explain what they did. Um, and it was really helpful to me to do that before the first clinical day because, like, I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a hospital room, I go in and I have no idea what anything is or where anything is. And I think it really just helped with my confidence, just going into that clinical rotation to at least know where everything is around the room. Um, oh, and yeah, and that also stuck with me through exams. Or through like our didactic learning. I knew like what each piece of equipment did. I could picture it in my head, like where it is in the room. It's really helpful. The most rewarding patient interaction for me was probably the delivery I got to see. I was with the patient from before she started pushing. It was a labor induction. Um, so I was there before she started pushing, and I was there throughout her delivery. Um, I was there like at the bedside. I was holding up her leg as she was pushing the baby out. Um, I was even able to I felt like I was able to help when she started panicking. Like I was able to like instruct her like on some breathing techniques. Um and like I got to kind of create some kind of report with the family as well, which was really nice. And I got to be there when her baby came out. Um so yeah, I got to witness an entire delivery, which is something I'd never seen before. Um, and just seeing the whole labor and delivery process too, again, helped with my didactic learning. It stuck with me, and uh, like it reinforced those concepts that we learn in the textbook about labor and delivery, which is so invaluable and definitely helped me during the tests and the HESI and everything. Um, I even got like I got like just a lot of really invaluable knowledge. Like, for example, I learned that for variable D cells, you give fluid because it alleviates the pressure on the cord, or um, like kind of how to position mom so that she's most comfortable pushing, using a peanut ball, stuff like that. Um, for simulation, the three emotions that I felt, and I kind of going back to the one word explanations, um, I felt overwhelmed, lost, and goofy all at the same time. Um, I think the skill that I need to improve on the most is probably, I think, enhancing my knowledge. And that's not just say, like, oh, like, I'm dumb, or like I didn't study enough. I think I could definitely stand to be more prepared for simulation, like going more in depth with the chart, maybe printing it out so that I have it with me. Um, I feel like I would have been more confident in just like running per se, not running the simulation, but um, conducting patient care, answering the patient's questions, and just not doubting myself in the moment. Like, I think I would have been more confident if I had like that knowledge base. Like, they ask me what the side effects of the medications are. I don't know them off the top of my head. I start panicking. Um, but yeah, it would have made me more assertive, I think, to have that knowledge base. But I know it comes with practice too. I think one thing that I'm really proud of myself for is mostly keeping my cool. Like, I think just in the simulation, I was relatively calm, especially compared to other simulations. I didn't beat myself up as much for making mistakes. Um, I, because of that, like, calmness, I thought I did a good job of providing good patient education and like engaging in that therapeutic communication with the patients. Um, so what was done differently in this simulation compared to other simulations? In this simulation, instead of the pre-brief being led by our instructor, we got to put our heads together and come up with a plan, which was actually really rewarding rather than scary. I thought it was going to be really scary because it's like, oh, you're going in blind. But no, it's actually gives us an opportunity as a group to get together, put our heads together, and come up with the answer ourselves. It was really nice. Like, it was nice to kind of know that I have this group of people who are like, who have my back. Like, we're gonna support each other, and we're not alone when we go into the simulation, because that's what it feels like when you go in. It's like it feels like you're alone, um, and you're being watched. Another thing was the charge nurse wasn't in the room with us. Usually, the charge nurse is in the room. They give S-bar in the room, and they just kind of stand in the corner. They're there if they're needed, but most of the time they do nothing. Um, but they weren't in the room with us this time, which I think is more accurate to the hospital experience anyway. So I thought that was helpful. Um, the primary observer in this sim sat in the room rather than behind the wall. Usually, in my experience, they would sit behind the wall with the patient voice and stuff. Um, and that was a whole different experience. Somehow, like, I mean, it makes sense that you're more immersed when you're in the room itself. It's weird being there as a spectator and not doing anything. And I felt myself personally kind of like itching to do something. Um, but I was like, no, I'm an observer. So, but that was interesting. And I did like the differences in this sim versus the other sims. I thought that they made sense. Um, Skills Day. I think it would be really beneficial for instructors to have more discussion areas, kind of break up the lecture more, just because I was not absorbing much of that. It was a lot of new information, and that's it's a lot. I was thinking maybe like break it up into lecture activity instead of lecture and then activity. Kind of like maybe 5 minutes of lecture, minutes of activity, 5 minutes of lecture, 5 minutes of activity, and so on and so on. But that's just my point of view. Or like discussion questions. Discussion questions are really helpful, like when you kind of like get us to think, um, or like just kind of like get us engaged. I don't know. It would have also just been beneficial to have some kind of like a lunch break or something in the middle or of the skills day, just because at the end of it I can tell you that our brains were really fried, and like halfway through I probably like was more checked out. Like I tried to pay attention, but I was really checked out just because of how much information it is. It would have been nice to have like a break to absorb everything. um but yeah, overall it's been a really fun clinical experience, and I'm really grateful that I got to do it. Thank you.